I think we're live now.
Yeah, we are live now.
Okay. তো আমরা হচ্ছে just 3 to 4 minutes একটু wait করি for everyone to come. I'll join from my phone. আচ্ছা, should we give it like 2 more minutes? একদম 8:22 তে start করব। কারণ মানুষজন আস্তে আস্তে আসছে।
মানুষজনকে আসতে একটু টাইম দাও, সমস্যা নেই। আর মেহরিন আর নেহা, সো লাইক আমাদের আজকে মেইন ফোকাস হচ্ছে যে আমাদের কোর্সটার পাবলিসিটি করা। সো লাইক ইন দা মিডল আর কি, সেশনের মিডলে হচ্ছে ওইটা আর কি বলছে যে আমাদের কোর্স কেন এক্সক্লুসিভ এন্ড ওয়াই শুড জয়েন।
ওকে।
Tanish, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
I guess we can start now.
Wait, give me 1 minute. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Acha, so let's start. Okay. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Good evening to all of you. I am Tanish Tandra and I have Samam Ariana Apu with us today as well, and we're working with the Cognito College consulting team as their public hosts. So Apu, would you like to say something? Ariana Apu.
We welcome you wholeheartedly to Cognito College Consulting. This webinar is presented by CQ Team. Cognito College Consulting is a collaborative project where you get amazing free content and resources. Thanks to our brilliant founders and supporters' effort. Without your love, we wouldn't be here today. Here at Cognito, we believe in providing qualityful and resourceful guidance to everyone free of cost. We have a vision of changing the admission scenario of Bangladesh, making it possible for everyone, regardless of their educational background or curriculum type. So, Tanish, take the floor.
অলরাইট সো আমাদের আজকের যে সেশনটা আই বিলিভ সবাই যারা যারা কগনিটা কলেজ কনসাল্টিংয়ের ফেসবুক বা ইনস্টাগ্রামে দেখেছো ইটস Q&A সেশন অ্যান্ড বেসিক্যালি আমাদের আজকে আগে দুটো লাইভ হয়েছিল সো উই হ্যাড সেশন অন IELTS অ্যান্ড উই ওয়েন্ট থ্রু what is IELTS and IELTS structure taki basically all like IELTS 101 we went through all the details and then tapper we went through the TOEFL details and ajke we have a Q&A session with two super duper esteemed honorable কিভাবে বলবো they're like really amazing people guests এবং এরা হচ্ছে তোমার আমাদের যে কগনিটা কলেজ কনসাল্টিং এর তোমার IELTS and TOEFL speed runটা হবে they are our amazing teachers who'll be going through. So before we dive into the Q&A session, I'd like to introduce them. So firstly, we have Mehreen Mirza Apu. Mehreen Mirza Apu হচ্ছে তোমার Smith College class of 2025 freshman. She'll be going to like Smith College and তারপরে আপু হচ্ছে IELTS 8.5 পেয়েছে এবং she was a high school graduate from Aga Khan School. So, Apu, would you like to say some interesting facts about you? Jehetu, we talked about your alma mater and your credentials now.
Hi, I'm Mehreen. So I'm the course instructor for IELTS for Cognito. So, interesting facts. A lot of you know me as Bubblegum's mom because of my cat. And aside from that, more related to academics, I got into University of Rochester, Vassar College in Smith, but I'll be attending Smith this fall.
All right, and তার সঙ্গে like when I did a bit of research, I found out that Apu is also the founder of Read To organization, and Apu হচ্ছে তোমার I heard from Abir Bhai that you're a cat lover since you have a cat themselves. So go and check out Bubblegum's page. I'm sure you're gonna be awed by like how beautiful the cat is. Acha. So next we have the amazing Sajia Shaheen Neha Apu. Neha Apu হচ্ছে an incoming freshman of Princeton University class of 2025. I really কি বলবো and Apu হচ্ছে TOEFL 116 out of 120 পেয়েছে. She's a graduate from Vikarnisa Noon School and College and Apu like I'll say a bit of interesting stuff about Apu. Apu হচ্ছে like international astronomical Olympiad থেকে শুরু করে আমি কি বলবো like Apu, would you like to back up me like তোমার what do you love or তোমার interests কি?
Thank you so much, Tanish, for the amazing introduction. So, hi everyone, I'm Neha. And first of all, apologies because my camera is not functional right now. So, some fun facts about myself. I'm known to almost everyone as the space geek. I also love cats. I own a cat named Chufri, which is a very weird name, I know. So, a bit about me. I love physics. I love space stuff. I participated in the International Astronomy Olympiad in 2019, and I got a bronze medal last year in the International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics, which was online. I applied to a bunch of colleges this year and got into Princeton and Brown University and was waitlisted from a bunch of them. And I also received my fair share of rejections. So, yes, I'd like to tell more about my TOEFL score. I received a 29 in the reading section, a 29 in the listening section, a 30 in the speaking section, and a 28 in the writing section. So that's all I can think about me right now. Oh, I also love anime.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the introduction, Apu. And right now আমাদের কমেন্ট সেকশনে আমি জাস্ট বলবো কি তোমার আমরা আজকে যে কিউএনএ সেশনটা করব দিস উইল বি লাইক ওরিয়েন্টেড লাইক আইএলস বা টোফেলের কারো যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন্স থেকে থাকে বা তোমার রাদার দ্যান লাইক জাস্ট নর্মাল জেনারিক কোয়েশ্চেন্স লাইক ফর এক্সাম্পল আইএলসে কি হচ্ছে টোফেলে কি হচ্ছে ওগুলোর জন্য আমাদের গত 2টা লাইভ হয়েছিল। তো তোমরা যদি চাও কগনিটার পেজে যে তোমরা হচ্ছে ওই ফেসবুক লাইভগুলো পেয়ে যাবে। অ্যান্ড এছাড়া আজকের সেশনে যেহেতু we have our esteemed guests with us today, respectable, like they're like successful. Kiki now, I'm out of words. And এদেরকে I'd say that if you have any personalized questions, like for example, আমাদের সেদিন একটা question এসেছিল about payment and credit cards, and তারপরে হচ্ছে in the TOEFL hall তোমার ওখানে audio device বা এসব কিছু ছোটখাটো questions that you know that will aid you at the end of the day because they firsthand experienced it themselves in the hall exam. So just pile them up in the comment section. We'll go through that. And apatoto, we have went through some frequently asked questions in our website plus amateur social media handles and everywhere as well. So we'll slowly continue with that, and then tapper will go a bit more about the crash course that we have. Amateur the IELTS or TOEFL crash course to hobby. So we'll look into the crash course from the teacher's perspective, Nehapu perspective, and Mehinapuর perspective থেকে আমরা কি শিখবো কি না শিখবো কি হবে কি না হবে, how can we prepare before joining the class, এবং ক্লাসের আগে কিভাবে তোমার সব রিসোর্সেস থেকে শুরু করে এবং ক্লাসের পরে কিভাবে আমরা যে রিসোর্সেস গুলো পাবো ক্লাস থেকে এগুলো সব হচ্ছে একটা জেনারেল রান থ্রু করবো। এবং সবার শেষে যেহেতু তোমাদের কোয়েশ্চেন্স আসতেই থাকবে আমরা হচ্ছে ওটা মাঝখানে গো থ্রু করবো এবং সবার শেষে কোয়েশ্চেন্স গুলোতে আবার র্যাপ আপ করে ফেলবো। আই এম সরি ইফ আই একটু বেশি ফাস্ট বলে ফেলছি যদি। আচ্ছা, তো আমি জাস্ট শুরু করতে চাচ্ছিলাম হচ্ছে আচ্ছা মেহিন আপুকে দিয়ে শুরু করবো না নেহা আপুকে দিয়ে, কাকে দিয়ে? Who'd like to go first? আচ্ছা, নেহা আপু says মেহিন আপু। আচ্ছা মেহিন আপু তোমাকে দিয়ে জাস্ট একটা জেনারেল লাইক এক্সপিরিয়েন্সের জার্নি যে শুনতে চাচ্ছিলাম তোমার। লাইক ধরো তুমি যে আইএলটিএসটা দিলে তোমার আইএলটিএস এর বিফোর দ্য টেস্ট তুমি ধরো যদি কিছু টিপস বা কিছু ওয়াইজ অ্যাডভাইস বা তোমার কেমন ছিল, প্রিপারেশন কেমন ছিল আইএলটিএস এর আগে, যদি ওটা একটু শেয়ার করতে। এবং টেস্ট হলে সেদিন আনাফ আমাদের সঙ্গে শেয়ার করেছিল টোফেলে কি হয়েছিল না হয়েছিল, ওই যে এসি বেশি ঠান্ডা ছিল কি জ্যাকেট পরে আসো, অডিও ডিভাইস এইসব জিনিসপত্র ওগুলো নিয়ে যদি একটু বলতে। এবং টেস্টের পরে ধরো তোমার how did you like নিজে কিভাবে সান্ত্বনা দিলে এবং how did you self console yourself to be calm and everything, যদি এরকম করে তোমার জার্নিটা একটু বলতে আপু।
Okay, so before I started IELTS, I thought it was going to be really easy, right? So it's just, I'm from English medium, it's going to be easy for me. But when I started giving practice tests, I realized that is not the case at all. So I kept getting so many answers wrong. I kept doing really poorly in mocks. So that made me realize I do need classes. I do need advice to let me know where I'm going wrong, because just practice and just self-studying, while it's good to practice, you won't exactly know where you're going wrong. You'll just know what you're doing not wrong, but not why. So I personally took classes, and I also did a lot of practice tests. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube related to speaking, writing, listening, and reading. So my listening and reading score was a 9. That came from a lot of practice, and a lot of not just practice, but also knowing where I did wrong. So often what I would get wrong is not knowing all the synonyms of the word. So if I knew that, okay, I'm doing a mistake here, then the next time I'll have it in mind, right? So that's why classes is really important, because when you're doing a mistake, I'll be able to tell you, oh, maybe you got the main idea wrong. Maybe if you see this from a different perspective, you'll get it right. So speaking and writing, of course, it's very important that you know certain words, you have a good vocab resource, and also you know how to say, how to not repeat yourself, right? How to extend your words and explain yourself with examples without repeating yourself. So before class, I suggest there isn't really much people have to do. I'll be starting from scratch. I'll be telling you what IELTS is. So yes, come to class with an open mind, a fresh mind, and of course with you must take notes, because I'll be giving you a lot of tips and a lot of explanation of the criteria on which you'll be marked. So you have to take notes, whether you're taking note, typing it out, or whether you're writing it down. You should have that record with you. So about my IELTS journeys, my IELTS was, I even remember the date, it was November 15th. My speaking was at 1:20. So of course, I always go to these things early. I mean, I went like 1 hour early and I was sitting there. So the speaking test was kind of scary, because on TOEFL you speak into a computer, but in IELTS you speak directly to an examiner. So that is comforting in a way, because now you just have to worry more about how your tone, how you're explaining yourself, and you can feel free to make mistakes, because IELTS allows you to correct 1 or 2 mistakes and even ask your examiner to repeat the question. So my examiner was thankfully really friendly, but the room was so cold. Like I was shivering the entire time, and I mean, maybe that came in my voice. I don't know. But yes, I was prepared. I knew that, if they asked a question related to this, I would speak like this. I would try to use idioms, metaphors, and like an hour or two before my exam, I looked over my notes a little bit, so I had an idea of what to do and what not to do. So after that, there was a 2 or 3 hour break, and then I had the other 3 parts of the test: listening, reading, and writing. So if you're giving the paper-based one, you'll have listening, reading, writing on one day and speaking on another day. But if you're giving the computer-based test, you'll have listening, reading, and writing as well as speaking on the same day. So I had the listening, reading, and writing 3 hours after my speaking, and I was so scared, oh, the keyboard's not going to work, the computer's going to malfunction. But I was surprised because it was so professional. The headphones were really good that we used for listening. They provided pencils, paper, anything I needed to write notes, but I didn't need that. There was in writing section, there was a word count. Like everything was really helpful to me, because my test center did it all so professionally. But even after that, I was a little worried about my score, because I was a little worried about the listening section. Did I hear everything right? And then about the writing section too, because I kind of crossed the word limit. So later, I just assured myself that no matter what happens, I did my best. I practiced a lot. I gave so many mock tests. It's likely that even if I didn't get the best score, I would get a good score. Like no matter what I got, I would be able to be proud of myself, because it's something I worked for. Yeah, so that's about it.
Acha, wow, that was really nice. And post exam কি তোমার কখনো like feel হয়েছিল কি আচ্ছা I felt it wasn't good বা এরকম কিছু, or how did you console yourself within that period?
So I was worried about my writing score a lot, because in IELTS writing, like people who have given IELTS will know it's very hard to get a good score. It's very hard to get 7 or 7.5. There are very few people who get above 7.5. 7.5 or 7 is like the best. So I was worried about that, but I consoled myself that I did do my best, right? So I'm not going to worry right now. Worrying right now is not going to help anyone. It's just going to make my day worse. I have a lot of other things to do related to my application. So I just didn't really think about it much. And I just waited till my results. I thought that, okay, I'm not going to worry about it now. There's no point. Let's wait for results, because right now there's no point in assuming stuff or being apprehensive, right?
Mm-hmm. And do you have any tips for anyone who will be giving IELTS test probably next month or so? Like any last minute tips?
Yes, definitely. Practice a lot. The reading and listening section relies completely on practice. About speaking and writing, look for tips online. Look for how they're marked. This is important. Look for samples. Go through samples, and try, if possible for you, try to give a mock test. If you can't give a mock test, then try to, like, for speaking, try to practice with a friend. Try to practice with someone you know who's good at English. Try to speak in front of the mirror, because for speaking, you need a sort of fluency. And if you don't practice speaking, you'll end up either hesitating a lot or just continuously repeating yourself. So the more practice you get, the better you will be. And it's not just about practice, it's also about strategies. So you need to know what you're doing wrong, and you need to know why you're doing that wrong. So the next time you practice, you can get it right.
I'm sorry, I guess একটু background noise এসেছিল, but yes, it's true. Practice and self-reviewটা actually অনেক important. Like the more you practice, the more you know about your weaknesses and how you can overcome it আর কি. So yes, thank you so much আপু. And already আমাদের অনেক questions এসে গেছে, so I'll look through those a bit, and then তারপরে I'll request Neha আপু to share us her journey for her TOEFL test. আচ্ছা, তো তাহা ইয়াসির তালুকদার ভাইয়া জিজ্ঞাসা করেছে কি, মেহরিন আপু, what were your personal preferences and reasons that you went with IELTS? Like, why did you choose IELTS over TOEFL or any other English proficiency test?
I chose IELTS because it was the one I was most familiar with, and also the fact that it provided both a computer-based test and a paper-based test. So I could choose what I'm comfortable with. I was planning on doing classes, getting a lot of practice, and at the end, deciding what I'm more comfortable with. And I ended up just choosing the computer-based one. It was also because of the speaking test, how it's with an examiner. So the idea of speaking into a computer, it's a little intimidating to me, and I wasn't really sure if I could rely on a computer. So I personally went through the IELTS and TOEFL structure and realized that the IELTS structure aligns with me more. The reading section, the listening section, reading section paragraphs are easy to follow. They're very interesting. The listening audio clips also have a variety of accents. I don't really know much about TOEFL, but with IELTS, I was more comfortable with it personally. And also costs. IELTS costs less than TOEFL. Even if it's a small margin, IELTS was still more affordable, right?
Gotcha. And after taking the IELTS test, did you notice like any drastic level of change for your knowledge in English, but the way you spoke English, the way you comprehended English in your life?
Yes, definitely. So IELTS taught me how to two things. One was from the speaking section, one was from the listening section. So what it taught me from the speaking section was how to extend how I speak. So often I used to speak with one-word answers. So IELTS taught me how to extend that, and also how to speak confidently with flow without continuous hesitations, right? So it really helped me with my confidence in English speaking. And in terms of listening, it helped me figure out how to focus on conversations. So at the beginning of listening, anyone, like most people, will start scoring pretty poorly, right? Because when the answer is covered, when the question is covered, you have no idea. The whole recording plays from first to last, and the answer passes away. You have no idea when it goes. So a lot of practice is needed, a practice in terms of focus. So it helped me focus more on every detail in a conversation.
And I guess you can't repeat the clips, can you? Like,
No.
it's just one
No.
time, right?
They'll play
So
once.
yes, like observation skills, or you have to like
Yeah.
really focus on it. Acha, so এখানে একজন he shared his experience. I hope it's a he, Sahil Farhan. So he said that my school's medium of instruction is English throughout high school. Can I ask the US universities to waive my EPT as registering for TOEFL, and sending the score to 18 universities is financial burden for my family. I will be giving the SAT later in the English section. I am getting on average around 770 in the Khan Academy's practice test. Could any of you please answer this humble question? Would feel really gratified.
Okay, so if giving the IELTS or TOEFL is a financial burden, then that's okay. You can definitely ask for a waiver. Most colleges will grant you a waiver. So the things you have to mention is your primary language of instruction was English. Throughout high school, you have to mention your SAT score. So after you give your SAT score, you have to mention that I got this score. So I think it was above 620 in English or 650. I don't really remember. But if you can tell 770 in English is an excellent score. So just let them know that your primary medium of instruction is English and your SAT English score. So you don't have to worry about that. But I suggest do it a little early, mail them asking for a waiver a little early. So if it's very unlikely that they will decline it, but if they do decline it, then you have a small amount of time to maybe give the Duolingo English test or maybe register for IELTS.
Tanish, I guess you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you so much. I'm really sorry. I muted myself at the main application. Acha, so basically, Said Muhammad asked, what would processing think when a guy scared for costing to IELTS? I guess, what he means is that IELTS are costing a journal. Like, what would we be thinking if we're scared? Something along that lines. I'm not sure how to phrase this question properly, but yeah.
Okay, so if cost is a concern, IELTS is cheaper than TOEFL. You could go for that. DET, Duolingo English Test, is the cheapest out of these. So if you need an English proficiency test, like you can't get a waiver, then yes, you could go for the Duolingo English Test. Or if you're giving the SAT, if you get a good SAT English score, then you can get a waiver through that, even if your medium is not English.
Acha. Thank you so much, Mehin Apu, for answering our questions. আচ্ছা, সো নেহা আপু অনেকক্ষণ ধরে নেহা আপুকে একটু ব্রেক দিলাম, এখন নেহা আপুকে একটু জ্বালাবো। আচ্ছা, হাই নেহা আপু, are you there? Am I audible?
Hi, Tanish. Yes, I can
আচ্ছা,
hear
ঠিক
you
আছে।
clearly.
আচ্ছা, তোমাকে একটু জ্বালাই আপু। আচ্ছা, so basically, wait, can I refer you as তুমি, if you're okay
Yeah,
with that?
sure.
আচ্ছা, ওকে ওকে আপু, তো যেটা বলতাম আর কি, মেহিন আপু যেভাবে স্টার্ট করেছিল উইথ হার এক্সপিরিয়েন্স, উড ইউ লাইক টু টেল ইয়ার এক্সপিরিয়েন্স, তোমার টোফলের কিভাবে কি করলে না করলে, সাম টিপস ফর স্টুডেন্টস যারা টোফল ফিউচারে দিবে, লাইক যারা এই লাইফটাতে আছে এবং দেখছে, তো হ্যাঁ, ইফ ইউ কুড সে সামথিং।
Yeah, sure. So about me, I'm from Bangla medium, so I had to take an English proficiency test. Aside from some schools who would waive the requirement because of my SAT English test, so I remember that I decided that I would take the DET, but Princeton, they would not accept DET. So I had to take the TOEFL only for them. So I chose the TOEFL because I felt that I was more familiar with the structure of TOEFL rather than IELTS, because TOEFL has more multiple choice questions, so you don't have to come up with answers by yourself. Sometimes what happens to me is when you go to the exam hall, sometimes your brain freezes, so you can't come up with new words or new phrases. It's easier for you to choose from a set of options you have. And another benefit of the TOEFL was that you can also give it at your home with the home edition, which I did not take. It took the testing in a center. So my experience with TOEFL was that I was practicing SAT and TOEFL side by side so that I wouldn't have to, like double check two English tests like twice. So I'm absolutely seconding whatever Mehreen said, because I don't have to repeat anything. She almost covered everything. You need to practice a lot. Even if you're really good at English, what you're going to find out is that during our regular day-to-day conversations, we use a lot of stuff incorrectly, which are not grammatically correct. So when you're giving mock tests or exams, or when you're attending classes, you're able to know that you're able to know where you're making those mistakes and why you're making those mistakes. And when you have an instructor to guide you, he or she can perfectly tell you what your weaknesses are or what your strengths are and how to better yourself at those mistakes you're making. So I personally felt that I would have done better if I had someone to guide me. But yeah, sadly I didn't, because it was a very small time window and I didn't have much time to practice. So what happens with the TOEFL is you go to the test center, and the test is absolutely computer based, which I think is easier for a lot of us, because I personally know a lot of people who are introverted and who would rather speak to a computer rather than a real human being. Because let's say you're sitting in front of someone, an authoritative figure, so you're scared to look into their eyes and you're mumbling words. You're very scared. You're afraid to answer them. Let's say they're friendly, but still you have some anxiety working inside of you because you're just introverted. That's it.
যেটা আলসে
So,
ক্ষেত্রে হয় না,
yes.
আলসে you have to do it face to face.
Yeah. So I felt that TOEFL would be easier for me because you're speaking to a computer. There's no one to judge you. So you can just speak into the computer and record your answers. And then a real person would be judging them, but you don't have to face them or like look at their expressions or what eye gesture they're making. So you're less nervous. So TOEFL has some bad sides as well, I would say, because sometimes the microphones they give you, they don't work that well. Also, you have to give the test in a room full of people. But what I found out that when I was weighing the advantages and disadvantages of both the exams, I found out that the TOEFL was more like it just went more with my strengths and my style and my pattern of studying. So I chose that test. So the TOEFL has 4 sections, like the IELTS: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. So just let me tell you guys a bit more about the structure. So reading usually has 3 or 4 passages where you have to read the passages and respond to questions. You usually have around 55 to 70 minutes. It depends. Also, and after you're done answering all the questions, you go proceed on to the listening section, and you hear conversations or just some parts of a lecture and answer questions from them. You're also given pencils and paper to note down anything you want, which is, I guess, very good. After the reading and listening test, you have a 10-minute break. Then you have to sit for the speaking and writing test. The speaking test has, I don't actually remember, 3 to 4 tasks, and the writing section has 2 tasks. So, another very good thing about the TOEFL is that when you're done giving the exam, they give you the option they give you the option that do you want to check your reading and listening scores. Like, it can give you a confidence boost, unlike the IELTS where you receive your scores far later and there's a longer period of anxiety and tension and nervousness. So after I was done with the exam, they asked me if I wanted to see my scores, and I said yes. When I found out that I did kind of well, I got 29 out of 30 in both these sections. So I felt more confident, and, like a huge burden was lifted off of me. Like, if I did super bad in those other sections, I would have a decent score, I
Wait,
think.
you got to see your results just after your exam?
Yes, because it is a multiple choice test. You can see your reading
Oh,
and listening scores like just after you're done with the exam. So it was
did you
fun.
know that before giving the exam?
Yes, I knew that. So
Didn't
they
that
had
add up to the stress? Like, okay, whatever I choose, I'll get to know about it like just after the exam. Like,
uh,
did you feel that?
no. So for me, what is like what makes me more nervous is the longer period of waiting. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting for a long time, it makes me very anxious, and I become fidgety, and it's just nerve wracking for me. So I preferred knowing my scores just after. So I found out that the TOEFL was just more easier for me than the IELTS. And oh, fun story, I met Ahnaf Saad when I was giving the TOEFL test. He was sitting there with his mother, and I also went there with my mother. He was in the other room. So yes, that's all I have to cover. And during the whole crash course, TOEFL crash course, I will be teaching you how to how to answer specific questions, how to, you know, if you like say face X question, how do you progress with it? How do you face it? So how to proceed using specific strategies and tips. And apart from that, I will be giving you speaking tips, which is very important because once you're done recording, you can't actually re-record your answer. So it's very important for you to be coherent and clear the first time you're speaking into the computer. So that's a very important point. And oh yes, another thing about the TOEFL is that a lot of people have very poor handwriting. Like me, I have bad handwriting, and when you're taking the IELTS, I think you have to write on paper the writing section. So say you have bad handwriting and you wrote take, but they read it as bake. So you're losing points there for, you know, not being grammatically correct. So with TOEFL, the thing is that you're typing into the computer, and a lot of us are familiar with that, with typing. So it becomes easier for you to answer. And when you're typing, you can see what you're writing in the screen, and it's easier for us to detect what we did wrong. So that's another advantage I found that TOEFL had. So yes, that's all that I can remember. You can ask
আচ্ছা
me any questions you have.
আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল, আই গেস বোথ ফর মেহিন অ্যান্ড নেহা আপু। সেটা হচ্ছে কি, লাইক ওয়েন আই ওয়াজ গোয়িং থ্রু, লাইক এটা আমার কোয়েশ্চেন আর কি, সো ইটস টেক জাস্ট 30 সেকেন্ডস। সেটা হচ্ছে আমি যখন দেখেছিলাম লাইক দ্য রিকোয়ারমেন্টস অ্যান্ড আই গেস ওরা বলেছিল কি ইংলিশ মিডিয়ামের জন্য ইটস নট কম্পালসারি ফর টেকিং আ ইংলিশ প্রফিসিয়েন্সি টেস্ট, যেহেতু মেহিন আপু ইউর ফ্রম an English medium and Neha appu you're from a Bangla medium. I guess since you're from Bangla medium, was it compulsory for you to take English proficiency test?
So, first of all, you absolutely have to check the website for specific instructions. I found out that Vanderbilt said that if I got above 33 in the reading section, like you have specific sub scores in the SAT. So if I got above 33, they would waive my EPT. But for most other institutions, I saw that I would have to take the EPT because my language of instruction in high school was not English; it was Bangla, obviously. So I had to take the EPT. And I think a lot of people, probably like half of the people applying to US colleges, are from Bangla medium. So it is important for us to take the EPT and, you know, be familiar with the concepts of how they're structured and how they work. So it's best to, you know, talk to your university and email them about this. So usually what I've seen is Bangla medium kids have to take the EPT. For EV or EM kids, sometimes they waive it, sometimes they do not. So it's just better to check with them personally.
Acha. Okay, got you. Acha, so we had some questions here as well. They were piling up. Wait, let me have a go through. Acha, so this one person said, Faiza Khandokar, I hope I said your name right. She said that, hello Neha Apu, I'm also an astronomy freak and I'm willing to take astrophysics in my major. I had some questions. How can I connect with you? I tried to reach out to you through Facebook, but your ID is locked.
So with my social media is that I don't usually add people I don't personally know. So you can shoot me an email at neha1001@protonmail.com with whatever questions you have, and I'll try my best to answer. So yes, there's that, and I am really happy to know that you also love astronomy. Good luck with that.
Wait, so it's neha0001@protonmail.com.
Neha1001.
Oh, 10001.
Yeah, I think it's binary for something. I don't remember.
Protonmail.com, right. Acha, so we'll leave that in the chat box, okay, in case she's not here or in case anyone wants to contact you. Acha. Let's see. How many days is required for the preparation for TOEFL if I get 700 plus in SAT reading before the test?
Okay, so the thing is that if you're doing well in the say SAT reading section, I think the TOEFL reading section might be just a bit easier for you to answer because you're reading passages over and over again if you're practicing for the SAT. But you have to remember that you also have the listening, speaking, and writing sections in the TOEFL, which are not covered by the SAT. So you have to prepare for those. For example, let's say you're really fast at reading stuff, but you don't watch movies that much, you don't listen to music that much, or you don't converse with people that much, or you're not writing that much. So what happens is that, say you get a 30 in the reading section, but you do very poorly in all these other sections, it will drop down your score by a very big margin. So I believe that besides studying for the SAT, you should also prepare for the TOEFL with resources and all. If you're getting a 700 plus, I think for reading you wouldn't have to give that much effort, like you're not that far behind, but you'd still have to, practice. Otherwise, you might get into trouble during the exam.
But isn't like the way the exam board take their test different, like the type of questions and everything? So we'll still need to practice the questions a lot, right? Even if we
Yeah.
have
Yes, because
a really good score.
with the listening section, as I said, the SAT is completely a multiple choice question test.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
you're not hearing someone speak. You don't have to answer questions based on, let's say, uh, a classroom lecture or a conversation. So that goes for listening. And for speaking, for SAT, I know a lot of people who are really, really, really good at writing stuff, or say reading stuff, but they're not that good with speaking. So you have to practice that part. Otherwise, your score will go down. And for the writing part, as I mentioned earlier, during our daily conversations, we make a lot of grammatical mistakes, which you have to, rectify before the exam. So, for example, I'm saying that I wanna go, but you can't write I wanna go in the exam paper, because they'll deduct marks for that. So those are some things that you just have to notice and practice before the exam. So that's all, I guess. Do you have any more questions?
আচ্ছা এখানে আমি প্রাইভেট চ্যাটে দেখেছিলাম you wanted to answer a question. Which question was it? Do you still want to answer it? Because I think I asked that to Mihirin Apo. You were
Oh, I don't remember what the question. I think it was about the guy who
yeah.
was getting 770 plus.
uh,
I just wanted to say that if he's from Bangla medium and if he's applying to Princeton, he would still have to take the TOEFL, even if he got like an 800 on the SAT, because it's a requirement.
All right,
Yeah.
got it. And Mehreen Apu gave us an interesting fact in our private chat here at StreamYard. She said that IELTS paper-based dile, you get your results in 2 weeks. Computer-based dile, you get it in 7 days. You can choose to type out the whole test computer-based or write it on paper-based. I guess you can choose it yourselves. Jara typing a bhalo, or you guys are comfortable with computers, or are you comfortable with papers? So it's more of a personal choice. Acha,
Oh,
and
yes. I was unaware of that. Sorry, Miri.
acha. So I'm not sure. Orko bhaiya naki apo, I'm not sure, but I think you asked for a consultant. So in regards for that, you can definitely reach out to Cognito College Consulting team chat box in website follow by in social media, Instagram আছে, Facebook আছে. So you can totally go there and shoot a text. Their social media managers will be there to help you out with that. Consultant, I'm not sure about that. আচ্ছা regarding this আমাদের এখানে একজন আছে যে একদমই কথা বলছেন, he's like behind the scenes and he's one of the founders of Cognito College. Tahsin Abir Bhaiya, he's incoming freshman for Vanderbilt of class of 2025. So Bhaiya, would you like to answer this, because he or she wants a consultant, so in regards for that
Okay,
give her.
so I'd say that please reach out to Cognito's Facebook page, and you guys can text us and we'll definitely reply as soon as possible. Moreover, our consulting services will soon be posted in our Facebook page and website. You guys can see that too. So stay tuned to Cognito. We'll soon be coming with our whole consultancy service and our essay review service and all the services related to admissions. So just stay tuned to Cognito and reach out to our Facebook page. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
Acha. For
Thank you.
now, I think there is a service. Oh, Ask Me Anything we service, right?
Yeah, we have a Ask Me Anything. We have Ask Me Anything service going on currently. So in this service, you can get personalized and you can hear personalized answers from our from our uh, instructors. They will give you personal time for 20 minutes, and you can ask any question and get the answer. So it's completely a personalized service. So it's very helpful.
ওকে, সো আমার অ্যাটলিস্ট আমি যতদূর দেখছি এখানে আরও 2-3টা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে। সো লাইক আফটার কভারিং দিস উইল মুভ টু লাইক মেহরিন আপু। নেহা আপু অলরেডি বলেছে, ইফ ইউ স্টিল ওয়ান্ট টু সে সামথিং নেহা আপু অ্যাবাউট ইয়োর কোর্স, আমরা ওই পয়েন্টে যে আমি হচ্ছে এটার ব্যাপারে একটু জিজ্ঞাসা করবো, আর মেহরিন আপু তোমার কোর্সের ব্যাপারে তখন একটু বলো। আপাতত সাহিল ফারহান ভাই আবার জিজ্ঞাসা করেছে, ডাজ দি ইপিটি play an indispensable role in the American university's holistic admission system? I mean, does it elevate admissions chances, or it manifests the caliber of our English proficiency level only? Would anyone like to answer that? Mehrinapu ba Nihapu?
I guess, Merin, do you want to answer or do you want me to go?
You go for it.
Okay, so the thing with English proficiency tests is that a lot of universities have a certain, benchmark that you have to cross to get admitted, into the university. You have to check into their website for that specific benchmark. So for most, say, top schools, the range is 100 on the TOEFL. I'm not sure about the IELTS. I think I'm pretty sure it's around 8. So I'm not. I mean, I don't know what the AOs are thinking about when they're, checking our profiles, but I surely do feel like having a high EPT score will give you an edge over someone, say, who has a 90 on the TOEFL, but you have a 115. So they know that you will be more, you can adjust better to the instruction system at their university, which will be conducted fully in English. So I guess this advantage you can get. Aside from that, um, I think your IELTS or TOEFL score also comes in handy in other countries aside from American universities. It's mandatory for you to take those tests. So I'm not really sure. I think others would be able to comment better on that. So yes, I think getting a good score on TOEFL or IELTS will give you a margin over others who scored poorly in the test.
Okay, I'd like to add to that. So the thing about English proficiency tests is they just want to know if you can participate in their classes, because all their classes have English instructions, all the books are in English. So you just need average or a good, like it has to obviously has to be above the minimum, which I think is 6.5 for IELTS. So you need to have an okay score. It's about English proficiency tests. It's basically a yes or no. Yes, the student can speak, read, write, and listen in English. No, that the student cannot. But it will not play a crucial role in your admission, right? So a lot of people think IELTS is an alternative to SAT. It really isn't. SAT measures something completely different. It measures your ability to comprehend passages. It measures your ability to write using proper grammar. It measures your math skills, right? But IELTS is just about, can this person speak English or can they not? So I don't know of any scholarships that are completely based on IELTS score. So while it's required, it's not crucial. So it's not going to make a huge difference, right?
So I'd like to add a bit to this. So yes, as Meherin said, a lot of you think that you can use TOEFL or IELTS in lieu of SAT, but actually you can't. So a lot of universities are SAT optional this year, which means that you can apply without SAT, but it is our personal insight that you should always give the SAT, and if you have a good score, it will definitely give you an advantage in the SAT
It's
optionals.
recommended, right?
It,
SVP Tawata.
yes, so if you get a good score in the SAT optional institutions, say if you get a good score, say 1540, 1550, it will give you an edge over others. So as Mehreen said about the EPT, yes, I absolutely agree with her. You have to be above the minimum, but it's not like if you get a 9 on the IELTS you're going to get a full ride scholarship anywhere, because I have not heard about such thing. So yes, doing well in the EPT is good, but it won't bring you, let's say, a full ride scholarship or anything. You need many more components to your application for that.
All right. And I feel like ওই যে মেহিনা আপু যেটা বলেছিল about EPTs, that it tests you in a sense ki if you can compete with all the English lectures and English notes and everything in your college. I feel like Saturn and every other test, like it all applies. Feel like, you know, if you take the IELTS and EPT to test your English proficiency যাতে কলেজে যে cope up করতে পারো, even for like Saturn, like I guess harder courses, it tests you if you can cope up with the level of difficulty in college and কিরকম তুমি করবে. So it all links up আর কি. I hope I'm not correct me if I'm wrong আর কি. This is just my যতটুকু আমি রিসার্চ করেছিলাম. আরিয়ান আপু তুমি কিছু বলছিলে ফুল রাইড নিয়ে. Do you want to elaborate on that?
আই গেস মেহরিন আপু এটা বলেই দিয়েছে যে আইএলটিএস কোনো আইএলটিএস দিয়ে কেউ ফুল রাইট পায় না। লাইক অনেকের মিসকনসেপশন থেকে থাকে যে আইএলটিএস এ লাইক 9 পেলে ফুল রাইট পায়। সো ইয়া।
আচ্ছা.
Yeah, the thing about IELTS is it measures whether you can speak English or not and cope up with the other English speaking people there. It doesn't exactly measure if this person has good grades. It doesn't measure if that person can take initiative or have leadership skills. It just measures your language skills, not much more than that.
আচ্ছা, and ফারিয়া নওশিন জিজ্ঞাসা করেছিল কি ফুল কোর্সের details and everything, so you can find it in our website as well, or you can just shoot a text in one of our social media handles. Our social media managers will reply to you ASAP. Okay, and Al-Ziad Sami জিজ্ঞাসা করেছিল, how did you improve your accent? So Mehreen Appa and Neha Appa, the Mehreen accent and the Neha accent, because I'm not gonna say ki ha British or American. You guys have your own beautiful accents. So yes, how did you do so? এত সুন্দর করে কিভাবে কথা বলতে পারো?
Okay, so first thing I'd like to say, accent does not matter. Your accent reflects where you're from. It reflects your culture, your country of origin. So don't think that you have to sound British for people to think you have good English. That is not the case, right? You don't need to try to change your accent. Be comfortable with how you speak, because that's who you are. So that's the first thing I learned when I started practicing for IELTS, right? Your accent does not matter. You just have to speak clearly with the correct pronunciation, right? Just because you say wata instead of water doesn't mean you'll get more marks. You just need to make sure you're understandable and you're clear. So I'll let Neha take over.
I absolutely agree with Marina. A lot of people ask me if I developed an accent just for the sake of it. I did not. I actually speak like this because I grew up with a lot of cartoons and movies and all that, and I watched a lot of English shows. So I just kind of, adapted it from there. So accents actually do not matter at all. If you can speak properly with the correct pronunciation, it does not matter what accent you have. And she's absolutely correct. It reflects where you're from. And my accent is just American gibberish. I don't know what this accent is. I just speak how I speak and how I'm comfortable to speak. Earlier, a lot of people told me that I was showing off with this accent, but I actually was not. It's just how I speak. So I tried to kind of speak the way usually people in Bangladesh speak, but it was so uncomfortable for me. So, yes. And I can see Tahsin Abir said, if you want to learn from the best cat mom in the world, join quickly. If you want to learn from the best cat mom and the best cat sister, which is me, you should join our course. We will be offering 12 classes, and we will be dealing with each of you personally and work on your personal strengths and weaknesses. So you actually should join our classes. So yeah, that's all. Yeah, Tanish, I'll give the floor to you.
No, it's actually true. You should be proud of whichever accent you feel comfortable with, or tomar je accent hi thakuk na keno, and if people bully you with it, just be proud of your accent and proud of yourself. So positivity. And regarding the course, I'd like to add ki it's a 6-week long course with 12 classes and 2 classes per module. 2টা mocks না হবে এবং 2টা মকের রিভিশনও না হবে। তো এখন আমরা আর কি একটু তোমার কোর্সের ব্যাপারে এবং তোমাদের নিজস্ব তোমার কিভাবে কোর্সটা করতে চাচ্ছ, বা অ্যাটলিস্ট হাউ ইউ visualize doing the course বা এরকম কিছু, like from a teacher's perspective, তোমরা দুজনেই যদি, I give you both the floor to say something about the course itself from your perspective এবং how you'll teach us.
Okay, I guess I'll start. So, as Tanish said, you will have 12 classes. The first class, we will introduce you to the test, what things are there, the sections. We will discuss in details what passages you're going to get, the tasks. We will elaborate what you have to do and what questions are there. So the first class is, a proper introduction to the test. So, and then you have 2 classes per module. So I think Mehreen has 2 speaking classes, then 2 reading, then 2 listening, and then 2 writing classes. So my course structure is the same. After the introduction, we will do 2 speaking classes where I will teach you how to deal with the specific tasks TOEFL give you. For example, they tell you about this specific scenario or some example scenario and tell you to comment on it. So I will teach you how to deal with those tasks in 2 classes. Then we'll have 2 reading classes where I will tell you about the types of passages you have in the test and what type of questions you can get. How do you recognize the incorrect answers and find out the correct answers. So after that, we will have 2 listening classes where I myself will act out a conversation or just pretend I'm a lecturer in some university and start lecturing you, and you'll have to answer some questions. So basically what happens in the TOEFL. So what I will do is I will make sure that you are familiar with the topics and what you will get during the exam. So yes, there goes listening, and I will also give you tips about how to take notes during the exam, because it's very important that you take notes during the listening test because they won't repeat, the audio. So after that, we have 2 writing classes where I will teach you how to, write during the specific time window you have. I think you have to write around 500 words. So I will teach you what intros to use, how many paragraphs do you have to write, how to answer those questions, like how to build an argument, how to show your reasoning, your logic, and all that. So after that, we will have 2 mock tests, where you'll give the test, and then we will discuss why you got this wrong, or how you got that wrong, and then in the last class we will wrap it up. We'll give you tips and tell you about strategies and all that. So I guess this is a brief summary of what we are going to teach you. Aside from all this, we will build a strong bond. I hope I will build a strong bond with all of my mentees, and hopefully I will be able to help you get a good score in the TOEFL. And Mehreen, you can go now. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so it's a very similar structure for IELTS classes, but the order I plan on going in is speaking, listening, reading, and writing, because this is the order in which the actual exam itself takes place. So there's going to be 2 classes per module. The first class, which will be a speaking class, the first part would be an overview of IELTS, along with like how IELTS is marked, the overall band score breakdown, and then we'll discuss part 1 of speaking. The second class would be part 2 and 3 of speaking. So classes will be divided in this way, like writing's first class would be task 1 of writing, then the next class would be task 2 of writing. So the way I plan on structuring each of my classes is First, I'll give an overview of what the part we're discussing is. Like in tomorrow's class, we'll start with what speaking is, what IELTS speaking assesses. So we'll break down the marking criteria. So the marking criteria for IELTS, which you'll find online, is this huge table, and there's just very small bullet points. It's very confusing. So I'll break that down for you, and I'll deconstruct and explain each and every part of the marking criteria, so you know what to focus on, right? After that, we're going to move on to strategies. It's like what strategies and tips you need for every question that could come your way. We'll focus on different examples of each question, and after that, I actually have tons of sample questions ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask every student the questions. Like it will be like a mini mock test, and I'll give feedback instantly. So if they receive instant and continuous feedback, they'll know how to practice and what to improve on, right? So aside from that, there's what new will you get from this IELTS class, right? So I myself, from my own experience and the experiences of dozens of other people I've talked to, I'll be able to give you tips as to what exactly you should do during IELTS speaking. So IELTS speaking, reading, listening, and writing, right? So for example, one question I get a lot for IELTS speaking is, how do I organize my answers? How do I not hesitate? Like we often say, how do I not do that, right? So how do I make myself more fluent? How do I extend my answers? Because often when I try to make my answers longer, I end up repeating myself, or I just don't know how to give more than one word answers, right? So we'll discuss all of that, every little bit. We'll deconstruct all of that. And then similar for all the other sections. For reading, we'll learn how to skim, how to scan, and how to read. So there are different types of reading and how to filter out information, right? So the same for listening. There's so much information in the recording. How do you filter out what you really need? So I'll be discussing all those tips and strategies backed up with lots of examples, lots of practice, and continuous back-to-back feedback so that we can all improve in IELTS, like the best improvement and the best experience you can get from a crash course.
Wow, thank you so much, Nehapu and Mehminapu, for that. And I think Arianapu, আর কোনো question দেখেছো তুমি chat box এ? We'll just run through it. Both of you can take rest. তোমরা এতক্ষণ বললে।
I'll just add just a little bit to what
sure.
Mehreen said. The way she answered the way she told us about her course structure makes it sound so much better than mine. But I assure you, the TOEFL course is similarly as good as the IELTS. So yes, I will be answering any questions you have, and personally connecting with you and whatever problems you have. And we will work on specific tasks for TOEFL. We also have 2 tasks for the writing, and for speaking we have 4. So I will break down all of those, and we will proceed according to that. So yes, cat mom, cat sister, whichever you feel more familiar with, join us. So I hope all of you who are watching will join us in this amazing journey where we can all learn from each other.
Yeah, I'm really hyped up about the classes. I can't wait to meet all of these amazing people I'll be working with for the next few weeks. So if you guys are here watching, those who have already registered for the course, I'm really excited for tomorrow's class. I will be sharing a Google Classroom code, and I really hope you enjoy the classes. For those who haven't registered yet, whether you're going to give TOEFL or you're going to give IELTS, I suggest you register right now, because we do plan on really engaging with our class, really personally working with each and every one of you so you can achieve your maximum potential. So do register for our classes.
ওকে আপু, আমাদের অনেকেই এখানে 9-10 এ পড়ে, ওদের জন্য কোনো সাজেশন দিতে পারবা? লাইক দ্যাট উড বি রিয়েলি হেল্পফুল। যে অনেকেই যে আগে থেকে ইউনিভার্সিটিজ নিয়ে প্ল্যান করে, সো ইফ ইউ লাইক গিভ দেম সাজেশনস এন্ড এভরিথিং, সো দ্যাট উড বি রিয়েলি হেল্পফুল।
First of all, those of you studying in 9 and 10, if you've already started thinking about universities, amazing. That's great that you have shown dedication this early on. So of course you should try to build up your English skills. You should try looking for what hobbies are you passionate about, what activities are you passionate about, so you can work on your ECA, right? And also start research about which universities you'd like to do. So basically those things: work on academics, work on your English skills, and also work on your ECAs as well as research about universities. Now, how would you like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. I definitely agree with her. Like, if you're in ninth and 10th grade and actually thinking about what you're going to do after you graduate high school, it's amazing. When I was in 10th grade, I actually did not know that my extracurricular activities would come in handy while I was applying to universities abroad, or that I would have to write so many essays. So it's really good that you are interested in learning from such an earlier stage. And what advice do I have? Just, start learning slowly, and, the age old advice: watch movies, listen to music, read books. I know it sounds really mundane and you might want to kill me or stab me with a knife after, hearing this advice, but yes, it does actually help. And talk to yourself in the mirror. What I do is I talk to myself a lot, to a point where people think I'm a maniac, but it helps me with my speaking. So talk to yourself, talk to your friends, even if they say, "Oh, tomorrow English to khub kharab," you know, f them. You are good. You are practicing. You are trying your best. So yes, for ninth and 10th graders, I would suggest that, whatever unfamiliar words you face, try to figure out their meaning and use them in your daily vocab, so that, that word automatically gets added to your mental dictionary. So I think that's all I have to say.
Acha, regarding that, right, which is speaking test stage preparations, like what if you don't have someone to talk to or converse with for English, and then তারপর give you constructive criticism, ওইটার জন্য কি করা যায়? Because I know a lot of people, they're like, I need a partner to talk to, and like ওভাবে আর কি কেউ এগিয়ে আসে না।
It's definitely very helpful if you do have someone who can talk to you. But if you don't, then there are some things that you can do. Like look at lots of examples so you have an idea of how other people speak, like what flow they use, what vocab they use. And one of the main things about IELTS speaking and TOEFL speaking too, I believe, is fluency and coherence. So if you're stopping in the middle of your sentences, if you have big breaks within your sentences, like you're hesitating a lot, you keep changing what you're saying, that's going to be a problem. So one way to get fluency is to just speak. Just take a minute a day, stand in front of the mirror and just speak. You could also record. So recording is really helpful because then if you don't have anyone else, you can still listen to your own recording and then compare it over time. Like you record yourself talking on a topic this week, you record yourself next week, and you can see the improvement. Are you more fluent right now? Are you using a more greater variety of sentences right now, greater variety of vocabulary right now? So yeah, just doesn't matter if you have a partner or not. It doesn't matter if you have anyone assisting you. Just practice.
Acha. And I see Anaf Bhaiya is here with us today. He's the founder, he's one of the founders of Cognito College Consulting Team Service. Anaf Bhaiya, কিছু বলবা? You finally
Yes,
woke up.
finally আমার ঘুম ভাঙছে। Yes,
Yes,
বলছিলাম
finally
যে
you,
college
no, you abandoned us, and then আমি আর আরিয়ান আপু, we were screaming, and then তারপরে তাহসিন ভাইকে ডাকলাম, and then তারপরে অতনু ভাইকে ডাকলাম, অর্পণ ভাইকে ডাকলাম, and then now you come. একদম শোয়ের শেষে।
yes,
Brand
কি
new.
নিয়ে কথা হচ্ছিল? মানুষজন দেখি কত কিছু ব্রিটিশ অ্যাকসেন্ট দেখলাম, আমি ব্রিটিশ অ্যাকসেন্ট দেখে চলে আসলাম যে
Everyone said that Mehreen appa Neha appu has a British accent. So সবাই এই অ্যাকসেন্টটা চায়। আমিও চাই। আমি ইনফ্যাক্ট একটু আগে আপুদের সঙ্গে কথা বলতে বলতে বিশ্বাস করে, you can see my history. I was like, how to get British accent? Because it sounds so good with like Jai Hook. And then I said, you be proud of your accent. So
yes, is this how you get 30 out of 30 in speaking?
So a small correction, that I actually speak with an American accent. if I spoke with a British accent, it would sound like that. So I don't speak like that. I speak like this. So it's more American. And I think if you're looking to learn British accents, you should consult the great Ahnaf Saad, who learned the British accent because he's a Cambridge simp. He simps for Cambridge.
Yeah,
He
I'm
took A
transitioning.
levels just for Cambridge. Stupid
Yes, I'm kind
but
of transitioning
brilliant
right now.
guy.
I'm going to the US now, and I don't know, like right now it's gonna sound really weird because the transition. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, like
it's
imagine that
understandable.
you're using a British accent in the US, and people are gonna think I'm some sort of, like in London there are lots of Bangladeshis, like Siloti people. Like people are probably gonna assume I'm one. So yeah, anybody from Sylhet here?
I'm
Oh,
from
nice. তাহলে
Burjal.
offend করার মতো লোকজন নাই। Yes.
I'm from Burjal. কি বলবো? আচ্ছা, ভাইয়া, you betrayed আর কি UK. I was gonna ask কি কোনটা easier, TOEFL নাকি IELTS for everyone আর কি?
Ay, hi. Go,
I
go,
think
go.
that is a very complex question. If you are Sajia Shahrin Neha, then TOEFL is easier for you. If you're Mehrin
Yeah,
Mirza,
sure.
then IELTS is easier for you. So it depends on the kind of person you are, what you're familiar with. So, as I said, if you're more comfortable with answering multiple choice questions and comfortable with the structure of TOEFL and how it works, so you would be better suited to the TOEFL. And if you like how the IELTS functions, you will like that better, and it will be easier for you. So it actually depends on the person.
But like,
Yeah,
how do
IELTS
we
and
know?
TOEFL are so similar. Like they test the same things, but they're different. Like have their small differences in terms of structure, in terms of how they're marked. So do go through them. Like IELTS is also a mix of MCQ and short answer questions. The biggest difference I've noticed is speaking. So on TOEFL, you have to speak into a computer, and the computer will test your speaking skills automatically. And in IELTS, you speak to an examiner, so that examiner will test it for you. So just explore the structures yourself, see what speaks to you most, and then go for that.
And আমরা বুঝবো কি করে like কোন টেস্টটা আমাদের জন্য ভালো, like what are the questions that we're supposed to ask ourselves কি like the right type of test, like for example Mehinapu, you thought that তোমার IELTS was better for you, then Nehapu probably thought that TOEFL was better for her. So like তোমাদের দুজনের জন্য, like how do we know which test is like better in a sense?
It really depends on each person, so they should research the structure themselves. I personally found the idea of speaking into a computer a little intimidating. Like, oh no, what if I don't pronounce it right? And it just speaking into a computer in a room full of people is just wasn't my thing. But some other people might be a bit more intimidated by speaking directly to an examiner. So it really depends. I found being on an examiner in a room more comfortable, more cozy environment where in which I could speak comfortably. So it really depends from person to person. They should see the structure for themselves. They could see a few mock examples online, and then see some mock paper samples too, and then see what speaks to them most.
Okay, Apu, I have a question. Jara self preparation niche, would you love to suggest like some YouTube channels or books or anything?
I think, Mehrin, do you want to answer this first?
So I don't really remember any YouTube channels right now, but one book didn't personally use it, but I heard it's really good. The Cambridge IELTS books. So there's a lot of books, like 15, I think, and you just choose the recent ones. They come with an audio CD, so you can practice all sections of, or I'm not sure if you can practice speaking through it, but you can practice reading, listening, and writing through those books. And for speaking, you just need to look up speaking examples online. There's so many. Just you search it on YouTube and look at the ones you get.
So for me, the thing was that how I found out that I liked the TOEFL more, that that I saw two sample papers and I found out that I was answering the TOEFL faster and more efficiently. So yes, I chose the TOEFL. And as I actually saw, so not that many videos, but like random videos. I don't remember the YouTube channels, and I did not read any specific books. I solved questions that were available on the ETS website, so you can do it. I guess it will help you. And for speaking, yes, a partner is always very good. If you don't have one, you can always record yourself, as Mehreen said. So I don't think I have anything else to add to this. Ahnaf, do you have anything to add?
আচ্ছা ভাইয়া বলতে বলতে someone made the statement by saying that there are very few free resources for TOEFL preparation, and এটার সঙ্গেও like I wanted to add, right, like ধরো SAT বা ACT বা IELTS বা TOEFL, like Bangladesh, in terms of যেহেতু আমাদের viewers mostly from Bangladesh, like কোনটা available more, and like even available বলতে like resources and stuff and like coachings and everything, লাইক ওভাবে আর কি কোন বোর্ডটা ওভাবে available.
I personally found IELTS more accessible. Like if you talk to people, you see people know IELTS a little more, or because IELTS General, IELTS Academic is known by a lot of people. Also, people who are immigrating to Canada, immigrating to Europe, they often give IELTS, right? So um, I have seen more people know IELTS, whether it be general IELTS or academic IELTS. So general is for people looking to immigrate, and academic is for people going to university. I personally found more people know IELTS and are familiar with IELTS because the general one exists, but I'm not sure about TOEFL personally.
So, as I think Muaz said, I agree with him that TOEFL resources are not available as much as IELTS resources. For example, like when you go out on the street, you will absolutely see at least one poster that says "সাত দিনে IELTS শিখুন, IELTS score 7 পান." I highly doubt their credibility and what they're teaching, but yes, as Merin said, IELTS is known to a lot more people than the TOEFL. But yes, if you attend our classes, we will give you the best of TOEFL resources that we have cured specifically for you. So yes, please join our classes. It will be fun.
All right, and Anaf bhai, are you there now? I feel like Neha আপু ask করেছিল about you.
I'm sorry.
Neha আপু was asking about you আর কি, like would you like to add anything to it বা এরকম কিছু, or else I think we're reaching the end of the live because we're 1 hour 30 minutes হয়ে
আমি
গেছে.
জানি না কিছু, আমি তো প্রেপ নেই so আমি জানি না।
আচ্ছা, he didn't take any preps. আচ্ছা, এছাড়া does anyone else I don't think এখন আর কোনো questions আছে, আমার personally কোনো questions নেই, but হ্যাঁ, one thing I'd like to say is that ধর apart from the courses, যদি কেউ তোমাদের দুজনের কাছে reach করতে চায়, like নেহা আপু বললো কি ইমেলের কথা, মেহরিন আপু which platform would you prefer, like to reach out to you, যদি কেউ general কোনো questions বা এরকম কিছু ask করতে চায় বা ধরো normally আর কি?
So I'm usually more available on Messenger, but I will definitely give you my email. So if anyone's emailing me, do give a very structured email. And all same for Messenger. So don't just knock someone saying hi, because chances are they're not going to know where you're from or what you're texting about, right? So they won't really know if they should reply to your message request. So introduce yourself, say what you would like to ask them about, give them an idea about who you are, and then like just maintain basic etiquette when I'm messaging anyone, right? So they know who you are, so they know if they should reply. So my email address is mehreenmirza2002@gmail.com. I'll type it.
Okay, so yes, as she said, I receive a lot of email which simply say, "Apu, are you free? Apu, আপনার নাম্বার দেওয়া যাবে? আপু আপনার সাথে কথা বলবো? আপু আমাকে একটু সময় দিবেন?" So first of all, I don't know who you are. You could be a predator because I'm a minor. Secondly, you could be some sort of human trafficking criminal. Thirdly, you could be just some old person catfishing me. So please introduce yourself and structure your questions, like what specific questions or queries you have that you want me to answer. I also receive so many beautiful emails every day which have like all information that I need and don't need to know about them in stacked in that email. So that works better than just saying, "Hey, Apple, give me your number," because I will not give you my number if you are a stranger to me.
I'm gonna add যে আমি কিন্তু বিবিবিতে অনেক পোস্ট করছিলাম about etiquette and stuff. But yeah, regularly হচ্ছে like since I'm more active on BBB, I regularly receive stuff like hey ভাইয়া তারপরে হচ্ছে ভাইয়া রিপ্লাই দাও না কেন and stuff like people are desperate and just don't be that desperate, like we're not entitled to instantly reply to you, so just consider that perhaps.
Another thing, my profile on Facebook is locked, but still I don't know how. But a lot of people send messages to me on Messenger. But you again, you just say, "Hey Apple, hello Apple, do you have time? Help me." I am not entitled to answer you if you're just saying, "Hey, hello." I don't know who you are or what you want. I will not answer you if you just say, "Hey, hello, kemon acho?" So yeah, there's that. Please, I know you are not familiar with these concepts, but it's better if you know how to approach people you want help from, because we want to help you, and it would be far far better for us if you don't sound like a predator or just a weirdo.
I guess the thing that we should be taking from this is to be more specific. Like যদি কোনো questions থাকে, we greet. যদি কেউ সালাম দিতে চাও বা যদি hello, greetings, good evening, blah blah blah, and then after that নিচে একদম all the questions that you have, you can maybe pile it up, and then if they see it, then তারপরে they can just 1 2 3 4 করে answer করে দিতে পারো. Usually I do that, so that's just a tip I get. Or else beyond the borders there, you have a lot of posts that give you a lot of instructions on how you can approach, because yes, a lot of spamming happens and disrespectful, like Nehapu bolchilo, I've seen a lot of those stuff too. So yes, it's better to be like aware about it. আচ্ছা, একজন জিজ্ঞাসা করেছিল তোমার would there be any DET course in future, so
ওই যে
founders.
বললাম ডিটি হিসাবেই নাই বাদ
Acha, duty হিসাবে নেই. Answer for the person who asked about it, I guess. Acha,
I'm just
এছাড়া
if you guys want to add anything then just do.
currently, I guess we've reached the end. Acha, I want Mehinapu, do you have any questions for, I guess, the founders, or for, I'm not sure, as by এরকম কিছু, or would you like to add anything lastly, because we'll be wrapping it up.
I think I just want to say that I would love to see you in my class. Join, and I will speak, 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 keep speaking. You can hear me as much as you want, and I hope to give you. I hope to teach you to the best of my abilities, and I hope I can prepare you to do well during the exam. I will also be telling you how to stay calm and collected during the exam with a lot of people around you. Sometimes it'll happen that when you're giving the writing test, some random buffoon will try to, imitate a British accent. I think it was Ahnaf Saad. I curse him for that. So yes, you have to absolutely have to stay calm during the exam, and just in general, it
No,
will be a fun
we were
experience.
not
So
even on the same room. So, speaking of which, there's a bar. Like, am I gonna say that or you're gonna? Okay, I'm gonna continue. So, well, December 11th, and I went to the this TOEFL center in front of the Boshundara city, I guess. So I was sitting, and a small girl came and just sat right in front of me, and we both went to the test, and our moms, they were discussing about like applying abroad and stuff. Then my mom said to that girl's mom that okay, my son took A levels to go abroad, and um, that girl's mom said to that girl the same thing, and the girl judged me hard, like, মানে বিদেশে যেতে level লাগে go bit but something. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what Neha was feeling. Oh, by the way, that was actually Neha. You see, the world is small, and yeah, like
Yeah, it was. I took so much paper because I love taking notes. I took so much notes during the exam. So yeah, I
yeah.
thought he would see me. He did not. We were in different rooms. So yeah, there's that. Hopefully, we will be able to deliver a good experience for you and for us as well. And I hope to see you guys in the class, which starts tomorrow. The detailed schedules will be given soon on the Cognito College Consulting page. So stay tuned for that.
And Anaf and Nehapur story Aro Jante Chele, you can go to Beyond the Borders and you can find the story time there.
Oh,
And
that's a deleted
hope,
session.
oh, you
Someone
deleted it?
someone reported that.
Can you?
Um,
Yes.
I there is a question that is accent an important criteria to get good marks in speaking tests as people with weak Canadians. Absolutely not. Accents do not matter as long as what you're saying is coherent, clear, and you're not stuttering. It's absolutely fine. You don't need any accent. Any accent you have is good.
And don't be me and bot your speaking test. I don't know.
All right. And Mehrinapu, would you like to give some ending remarks for your course since it's starting tomorrow? Um, Anything that you'd like to tell the audience before we wrap it up for this session?
So I'm like really excited for this class. I've so much prepared. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys, those who have registered and those who haven't registered. Please do. I have a lot of content ready so I can interact with my class and just learn English and learn the IELTS way of English speaking, reading, listening, and writing, like together in a discussion-based writing environment where I'll discussion-based interactive environment where I'll be giving you lots of tips and lots of practice. So I'm really looking forward to this class, guys. So please join.
Thank you so much, Mehrinapu and Nehapu and the founders. And Achke will wrap it up. So before
Just
wrapping it up,
can I add something very little? If you
yes, of
join the IELTS or TOEFL course, you get to see our cats for free. So you should join to see our beautiful cats.
and
If you don't join the course, it's 200 taka for every picture of the cat. Okay, so join the course if you want to see the cats for free.
Yeah, you don't want to miss Chufri and Bubblegum.
And probably Tanish's cat too.
আমার cats actually একটু আগে এসেছিল, but then I shooed them away. I told my sister to take them away because
No, you never should
wanted to
cats.
make this professional, but like, yeah, my sister said that he was like looking for someone, so I had to sacrifice that. And I'm really like conspiring against
No, I'm
you.
disappointed. No,
Now my
you're not
cat
supposed
hates
to
me
do that.
because of you and Tahsin Bhaiya. But jai ho. Acha, so before ending Arki, I'd like to say, so Cognita Study Abroad name ekta Facebook group ache. Join that. You'll find like all these stuff there as well. And I guess kew comment korle ba kew kichu korle, you'll instantly get a notification than probably just liking the page on Facebook and usually notifications of Ashna. And plus যেহেতু Cognita is posting like constantly posting blogs and stuff, যেহেতু like being an intern I can see like আমি যখন দেখেছিলাম গতকালকে like there's like tons of new and amazing stuff coming out. So if you want to know more about that, like universities are ব্যাপারে কিছু blogs ছিল, so do join that group. And এছাড়া you have the website as well. Website so blog post করা থাকবে, so you can check that out. And yes, like our page, আমার Instagram-এও আছি, so that's there too. And of course, like আমি আগেও বলেছিলাম অনেকবার কি কারো যদি কোনো questions থাকে, reach out to the C Cube page. And yes, that's all for tonight. এখন like 9:30 বাজে, I guess. I think 9:30 বাজে, right? Like 10টা বাজবে almost, and it's almost dinner time, and অনেক রাত হয়ে গেছে. So thank you so much everyone for your patience and being in this webinar, and the C Cube team and our amazing guests are signing out for tonight. So good night and have a good dinner. অনেক ভালো করে খাও.
Bye bye, everyone.
All right then.
একদম 1 hour 30 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm ending the broadcast
Live.
now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone. I'm ending the broadcast now. So okay.